In the 16th century, a man with a gold hooped earring and a little goatee picked up a quill and wrote some of the finest sonnets the world has ever seen. 500 years later, a man with nothing better to do sits down with a microphone and tries to work out what the hell that bloke was going on about. Welcome to the final couplet. Wow, a new intro, I hear you cry. And I cry back, yes. There is one, a new one. And I know what a lot of you will be thinking. Oh no, does this mean that it's the end of the original recording intros? And look, we had a good run. But when you find yourself clapping into a microphone, pretending to be an audience member from the 1500s, you sort of realise that maybe it's run its course. And for the moment, they will be gone. But you never know, they could come back when I actually come up with better ideas than clapping into a microphone and pouring water into a glass. That is honestly the extent of my imagination. Let's have a think what they might have done back in the 1500s. Oh yes, water, pouring water. They've drunk a lot, so drinking. What else is there? Grooming horses and clapping. They did a lot of clapping back then. Clapping plays, clapping music, much like we do today. That is quite pathetic, really, from me, isn't it? That I couldn't come up with anything better than that. But, it's run its course, 25 of them. So if you're joining for the 26th episode, you can go back and listen to all of those if you want. Or maybe as a bonus content, I'll release all of them back to back. That'd be good, wouldn't it? Free of charge, of course, because I am, as you well know by now, a man of the people. And I believe in podcasts being accessible for everyone, at least until I reach, say, 50,000 subscribers, and then everything goes behind a paywall and I will milk you for all you're worth. But until then, you can enjoy this content and that bonus episode that I talked about free of charge, just as Shakespeare would have wanted. Right then. With that all out of the way, I suppose I should get on with the episode. And of course, we're looking at Sonnet 26 because, as we all know, 26 does come after the number 25. So, let's have a listen, shall we? Sonnet 26. Lord of my love, to whom in vassalage thy merit hath my duty strongly knit, to thee I send this written embassage, to witness duty, not to show my wit. Duty so great, which wit so poor as mine may make seem bare in wanting words to show it. But I hope some good conceit of thine in thy soul's thought all naked will bestow it, till whatsoever star that guides my moving points on me graciously with fair aspect, and puts apparel on my tattered loving, to show me worthy of thy sweet respects. Then may I dare to boast how I do love thee. Till then, not show my head where thou mayst prove me. Well, I, for one, quite liked that one. And I'm struggling to work out whether it is genuine, Shakespeare being humble about his writing, or if, indeed, he is being faux humble because he knows he's bloody brilliant. And I'm leaning, knowing Shakespeare from the first 25 sonnets, I am leaning towards faux humble, because I think Shakespeare knows how good he is. And sometimes he likes to say, I'm not very good, I'm not a great writer. But he knows he is. You meet faux humble people like that all the time. Like when you go and do karaoke and someone says, I'm not really much of a singer, I don't sing much, and then they go and do flipping Celine Dion and they're bloody brilliant. It's annoying, isn't it? Well, that is a similar vibe to Shakespeare in this one. So, tonally, a bit annoying, but there's some nice stuff in it. Let's break it down line by line and try and work out what it actually means. So he starts with, Lord of my love, to whom in vassalage thy merit hath my duty strongly knit. Lord of my love could be an indication that he's talking to a male here, potentially. A bit of detective work for you. And then he's basically saying, I'm your servant, and I will serve you loyally. I'm your loyal servant. To thee I send this written embassage, to witness duty, not to show my wit. So here he's saying, I'm sending you this message because I am indebted to you. I'm devoted to you. Not to show off that I'm a good writer or anything. Definitely not because of that. So that's the first bit of faux humble stuff. Or humble, whichever way you look at it, whichever way you want to look at it. Maybe you love Shakespeare and you think he was just genuinely a humble guy. And that's not for me to fight against. I'm not going to fight you on it. Duty so great, which wit so poor as mine may make seem bare in wanting words to show it. And he's continuing on the, I'm not a very good writer theme here, really, with, I'm actually so bad at writing that my sort of devotion to you, which is massive, by the way, might not seem that great because I'm a shit at writing. I'm bad. I'm sorry. Then he goes on to say he can't actually find the words to express himself or express the love and devotion he has for this person. And you know what? That's actually quite reassuring because, I mean, if Shakespeare can't find the words to express his love, then what bloody chance do any of us have? None. Because he's meant to be the best at it. Crazy. Then he continues with, but that I hope some good conceit of thine in thy soul's thought all naked will bestow it. And this basically is a fancy way of saying, but I hope you get what I mean. My writing may be bad, but you get the idea, don't you? I really hope you get the idea. I hope you understand how much I love you, even from this pile of crap that I've given you. Till whatsoever star that guides my moving points on me graciously with fair aspect, and puts apparel on my tattered loving, to show me worthy of thy sweet respect. Which means when the star that guides me shines on me graciously and dresses up my poor writing so far with nice clothes, lovely clothes on my writing. My writing's got a nice little tuxedo on and it's all dressed to impress. I feel like Shakespeare had another thing about dressing something up in nice clothes. Oh, it was dressing the heart up, wasn't it? He put a little tuxedo on the heart in one of the sonnets. Anyway, when that star shines on him in the right way and makes his words worthy of his love's respect, then we're on to the final couplet, but this is all sort of one long thought. But the final couplet is, then may I dare to boast how I do love thee. Till then, not show my head where thou mayst prove me. So if we continue the thought on, we've got, when that star shines on me graciously and I'm able to dress up my words nicely and prove to you my love and respect, only then will I dare to boast about how much I love thee. But until then, I wouldn't dare show my face because you'll probably test me. And if I'm put on a spot like that, I won't be able to come up with the goods. And I think that's making the recipient of this poem sound like a bit of an arsehole, if you ask me. Because, you know, Shakespeare's really trying his best. He's trying to explain how much he loves this person. But, you know, the stars aren't aligned and the star's not guiding him graciously. and he's struggling and he's sort of fluffing his lines a bit, and this person says, well, that's rubbish, it's not very good, was it? Go back to the drawing board. It's not very nice, is it? Not to say that person would be like that, but that seems to be what Shakespeare's saying. Like, he wouldn't even be able to show his face because he wouldn't be able to express his love properly, which I think suggests a slightly toxic relationship between Shakespeare and this person that he's writing to. That's my hot take. If you're a scholar listening to this, you may use that in your seminars. If you want to credit me, then do so. If not, that's fine also. I'm not precious about it. This is, again, a podcast for the people. So, and there you go. That is Sonnet 26 debunked. And I think the jury's out for me on whether this is a very sweet sonnet from Shakespeare saying, oh, I can't quite express how much I love you. I can't quite put it into words. And that's quite a lovely thing. Or if he's doing the faux humble Shakespeare of like, I can't put it into words, but then he's written this bloody nice sonnet, you know, about how he can't put it into words. It's quite clever. Maybe I'll put a poll in the description of this one, and it'll be humble or faux humble, and you can vote, and then we'll see which one we think it is. Interactive. Let's put Sonnet 26 to our story, shall we? Now, if you'll remember last week, or maybe you won't remember, or maybe you haven't listened to last week, or maybe you're a first-time listener. Either way, last week, Shakespeare read Sonnet 25 to a cat that he met on the South Bank. At this point, he's confused and he's in love. Maybe he is in love, or he just thinks he's in love, and he's in a tough place. And he's met this cat, and he's thought, oh, yeah, I'm going to read this sonnet to you and see what your reaction is, which is maybe a bit of a crazy thing to do, but he's in a rut. So let's see what happens next. Shakespeare finishes reading Sonnet 25 to the little tabby cat that has befriended him. Amazingly, the cat stayed in his arms the whole sonnet, looking up at him. Shakespeare thought you might have even seen a tear roll down the cat's little cheek. But on looking at the cat again, it had a horrible infected eye, which was oozing pus, and probably needed urgent attention. Either way, Shakespeare was amazed at the cat's patience, and he also was amazed at his own ability to write something that even a cat would pay attention to. He thought, yes, I am actually a bloody good writer, aren't I? And he smiled to himself. He put the cat down on the pavement, and he walked off. He looked behind him, and the cat was following him. And he thought, oh God, this cat really does love me. Probably loves me more than any human at the moment. And he thought, just my luck. The one thing that's fallen in love with me is a flipping cat. And he continued to walk. He walked all the way home, which took him at least an hour, and the cat followed him the whole way. He opened the door, he looked round, and he said to the cat, right, I've got to go inside now, so that's the end of this. We're over. It's done. And the cat looked up at him with his little pussy eyes and just nonchalantly walked over the doorstep. And Shakespeare thought, wow, this cat has got chutzpah. It reminded him of himself when he used to be a cat. So he thought, well, I must give this cat a name. I know, Percutio. And he laughed to himself. He thought, oh, that's very good. There's a character in my play called Mercutio, and because cats purr, do you get it? It's Mercutio. That's very, very good. Suddenly he had the urge to write another sonnet. But to who, he thought? It didn't matter really. He felt in love with someone or something, but he didn't know who, or what, or why, or how. Took his quill from his quill case and dipped it in some ink. He wrote, furiously, passionately. And, just as he had finished, Mercutio jumped up onto the desk and looked at him curiously. He started rubbing his fur against Shakespeare's arm, and Shakespeare had a thought. What if I attach this sonnet to Mercutio and let him loose in London? Whoever Mercutio approaches will be the love of my life. And he thought to himself, it sounds crazy, but if the cat loved me so much, surely the next person the cat finds and is attracted to will also love me. It makes perfect sense. So he grabbed a little collar for the cat and attached the sonnet to it, took the cat to the door and explained the plan. The cat listened intently, almost as if it could understand human language. When Shakespeare finished explaining, the cat nodded, which was quite weird actually, and ran off into the streets of London. The cat ran and ran for many hours, through alleyways, through pubs, through churches. It stopped occasionally to smell a person or two, but never quite settled, until it wandered into a park. There was a man sat on a bench, illuminated by the bright moon. The cat jumped up onto the bench next to him. The man looked at the cat curiously. The cat rubbed its neck against the man's arm, and the man noticed a piece of paper attached to the cat's neck. He plucked the paper from the cat and read, Sonnet 26. Lord of my love, I am your servant. Your brilliance makes me serve you. I send this written message to you to show my devotion, not to show I'm clever or anything. I'm actually so shit at writing that my devotion to you might seem small. I don't have the words to express it, but hopefully you get the idea. When a star that guides me shines on me graciously and dresses up my tattered love for you to prove that I am worthy of your respect, then will I dare to boast about how much I love you. Until then, I won't show my face, in case you make me prove my love. Wow, that is one hell of a story. And you know, I have to say, I think one of my favourite ones so far. I like this new cat character. And I, for one, am curious about who this mysterious man on the bench is. And why did the cat choose him? Well, as usual, you're going to have to come back next week, aren't you? Where we will analyse Sonnet 27, but also continue our story. Until then, bye!